Welcome back to part 3 of how to create an animation using PowerPoint. Okay, we left off, we had created our lithium atom and we had duplicated our slides so that we could see the electron leaving. So now we need to go in and time these slides so that when the animation's playing, you can actually see the electron leaving the atom. So what we want to do is click on the first slide, and you're going to want to be on the Animations tab. And if you go over to Advanced Slide, it says it's on the mouse click. We don't want that. So we're going to uncheck that box and check Automatically After. Now on these slides, I don't have any text appearing that the audience needs to read. They're just looking at a visual. So I would have the slides advance rather quickly, maybe after 2 seconds. If you're adding text to this slide, then you would want it to advance at a slower rate, so maybe anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. You're going to go through and change that on all of these slides. Now something that you might want to consider adding is your narrator to these slides, because it's rather boring just to look at an atom on a white screen and watch an electron move across the screen. So I would probably copy my narrator onto each of these slides and have them add some information about ions and talk about why the electron's leaving and what that does to change the charge of the atom, while the audience is also watching the electron move. It's not necessary that your narrator says something on every single slide, but you do want to maximize the use of your narrator so that what's happening is very clear to your audience. Okay, now that I've changed all of that, I want to go in and watch my slideshow so that I can make sure that my animation is running smoothly from beginning to end. So I'm going to just go ahead and start from the beginning. And again, the timing of this is up to you. So for me, I might say that my word bubbles might be running a little slowly. So then I need to go in and make those adjustments. Or maybe they move more fast than I can read. So I need to go in and slow it down a little bit. And again, those are all adjustments you can make as your animation goes. Again, you're going to want to use your narrator to help explain any definitions or any explanations of the science that you're using. Alright, now here's my slide showing my electron moving across the screen. So 2 seconds seems to be working pretty good. I might even make it a little faster and go to 1 second. Now I'm going to duplicate this slide, and I'm going to get rid of that last electron there. Now I want to move this over so that I can add my narrator to this slide. But moving each circle is going to be very difficult. So what I'm going to do is, if you click and hold, you can create a box and make sure everything that you want to move is in that box. It selects everything, and then I can right click and hit group and group. That makes that whole image one image, so then I can move it around very easily. Alright, so then I'm going to want to go up to a slide that has my narrator on it and select my narrator, copy and paste. Paste my narrator onto my slide here. So then I could have Penny, Ruby, and Greg explain what we just watched. So they would explain that the electron left, so that lithium is now a happy atom. They would explain that there are now more protons than electrons, which changes the charge of the atom. So now the lithium atom has a positive charge because there are more protons than electrons. And they would explain that now the atom of lithium is an ion since it has a charge. Then they would go in and you would show the other atom involved in the reaction. So you would show maybe a nonmetal gaining that electron that the lithium just gave up. and having a negative charge. And then you would want to show them being attracted to each other. And then eventually, of course, you would move on to the requirements for the covalent bonding portion of your animation. You would use these procedures for everything that you want to include in your animation. So animating electrons being added to an atom or taken away, showing electrons traveling around two atoms as they're being shared in a covalent bond. Some tips that you might want to consider is that the key to making a good animation is timing. You need to give the audience enough time to read what is popping up on the screen. Too fast and too slow are both a problem. Play your animation often to make sure that the word bubbles, shapes, and pictures appear in the correct order. Make sure your font size is large enough to read. I wouldn't go any smaller than a 20-point font. You can choose fun fonts, but make sure that they're easy enough to read. You don't want your audience trying to figure out what you wrote just because the font is difficult. And then you want to add colors to make diagrams easy to understand. And finally, just have fun and be creative. This should look like a cartoon, and it should have your sense of humor in it. I hope you enjoy making your animation. If you have any questions, of course, you can see me in class or give me an email and I'd be glad to help. I'm very excited to see what you come up with.